but the pumps are in the north. That's why they have this problem now, because the south, they switch up. They say that, we have to have proper distribution because these oil wells are our national resource. So we have to have fair, we don't mind sharing the resources, but we have to have equitable distribution of it. So that's why now there's a skirmishes. So what the North is trying to do is the North is trying to make life so unlivable in the South so that some of the Southern Sudanese will choose the North. Because unfortunately, a lot of people, they love comfort zone. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, South Sudan is independent. South Sudan now is a sovereign nation, and South Sudan will not go back to the days where they were subjugated to harassments like we've seen. I mean, so many lives are lost. And I think at the end of the day, the Dinkas people are Southerners and they will remain Southern. This is my prediction. Something else may happen, but I doubt very much if the South Sudanese, including the Dinkas, will choose to be with the North.
But the North, isn't the North misfiring? Because the decisions they're making, what they do in Darfur, they created a movement there to fight them. What they created in Abyei, now they created a movement to fight them. This is what they did to Southern Sudan, and they created the movement under Garang and all those other people, and then they got their own nation. If, for example, Darfur, one day say they want to be their own country, and Abyei wants to be their own country, how long would it take for the North to be in existence? Because they're cutting their territory slowly by slowly. You can't keep on beating people down. But Jesse Jackson said you cannot hold somebody in a ditch unless you linger there with him.
True. I think at the end of the day, the African Union will find itself challenged by its own member states, and this is one of the most immediate situations that need to be addressed. Sudan, as people said, is a beautiful place, very historical place, and has a lot to offer to Africa as well as to the world. However, you cannot continue to use your own people to colonize the other people, and in most cases it's done in the name of religion. And sooner or later, I think the African Union will be obligated to take action. And I don't know how forceful it will be, how useful it will be, but President Bashir is not the most popular leader in the West.
Not at all.
And I think if African Union is willing to take action, I don't think it will be a difficult task to accomplish. However, I'm not advocating Africans fight. I'm not advocating Africans go at each other, but I'm advocating Africans to respect the sovereign nation of South Sudan. And if the oils are to benefit all of them, the distribution must be fair and equitable. This is what the South Sudanese are asking, and they should respect it. So creating all these organizations that most of them look just like the Southern Sudanese, so that they will say, well, this is not the foreigners. These are, brothers and brothers fight for whatever. But, the power to be is behind the scene. And I believe, especially in the last several years, where Darfur created a worldwide media focus, I believe sooner or later we'll have some type of remedy in the situation. And I know for certain the Southern Sudanese people will not go back to the days of being in captivity.
It will never happen. Unlike the first generation African leaders who knew their enemies were the colonial masters, especially European powers, these new leaders like Ali, Bongo, Ndimba, Goodluck Jonathan, Jacob Zuma, Europe is no longer a threat to them. It was Europe that devised and executed slavery. After the abolition of slavery in 1865 in the United States, the last power to do so, a period that could have helped Africa to heal. By 1884, European nations assembled in Berlin, Germany, to plan yet again the ravaging of Africa, which resulted in the colonization of the continent and the exploitation of its human and natural resources. Do these leaders have any sense of history?
Well, I don't know if they have sense of history, but if they don't look at Europe or the Western powers as a threat, then they must be very naive. As you said, 1884, 1885, the Berlin Conference, which is widely called the Scramble for Africa,
right,
is when Africa was decided on the continent of Europe, not in Africa. They didn't even have the decency to come to the continent and make a decision, but they sat in Europe and decide how Africa should look like and who should own what portion and who should control what. So if now you govern or you're president of any African land, and now you don't look at them as a permanent threat to your well-being, you are crazy. Because Africa is so much resource, it will almost be impossible for the Western powers to leave Africa alone. Where would they go? Even in the United States, Africa provides human resources. You know, they brought millions of innocent individuals, enslaved them, used them for their economic development, for their power, and today they discover that Africa will continue to provide all the resources they need, especially when technology is concerned. Congo alone can continue to provide with Microsoft and Intel all the chips material that they need. So Africa is a place where the leaders must not be complacent to their relationship with Europe. And it is insane for them to go to Europe and open these accounts and buy these real estates and loot their countries and put it there. A couple of days ago, you know, the son of the president of Guinea Equatorial was profiled, who just bought a mansion for $30-something million in the United States and bought a plane for $38 million. You know, a young guy.
30 million.
38 million for a plane and a $33 million for a mansion. And this is only recently. And he bought other properties everywhere else. So we need to remind the leaders their sacred obligation in protecting Africa from the same people whose goal is to rip it apart and continue to steal or confiscate the resources, naturally as well as humanly.
Okay, Mr. Dramé, we're almost running out of time. But normally, anytime I interview a person, I wanted to, why are we talking, just, you know, to be blunt, you and I, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about the problems of Africa? Why is it always our concern that we have to discuss these things?
Well, because we are African, first of all. We have so much to offer to the world. Africa is in the middle of the globe. Africa is the only continent that God placed in the middle of the globe. Africa is the only continent where you can go to any other continent without air rights and property rights and water rights.
Right.
So, and Africa is the most resourceful continent on the face of the earth. But yet, we are the most destitute people on the face of the earth. So we are frustrated. Africans are frustrated. But I think this time around, our frustration will lead us to independence so that we can reclaim the glory days of Africa, when Africa provided all that was needed for the world to succeed. That's why we're talking, and we'll continue to talk. I hope that this time our frustration will lead us to a successful conclusion.
Okay, now, even though we began by you introduce yourself and everything, if my viewers want to contact you, how do they reach you?
Thank you for that. I think the easiest way to contact him is to go to my website, muslimcommunityreport.com. muslimcommunityreport.com. If they go there, they will be able to go to the contact list, and our telephone numbers and emails and every other contact we have is there. muslimcommunityreport.com.
Mr. Drame, I lack the words to express my gratitude for you to come to this place this night to grace my show.
Thank you.
I will forever remember this, and thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And I'm blessed to be here, as I said again earlier.
African traditionalism defines difference. The underlying word is different. Different is not deficient. Different is not primitive. Different is not uncivilized. Different is not ungodly. This is a way of life. They don't pray to the devil. If you are viewing this show for the first time, I thank you for watching. If you are a regular viewer of Divine Speech in African Traditionalism, I appreciate your patronage. There is an old saying that every journey begins with the first step. With your permission, we have just embarked on a journey with African traditionalism. The more we know, the well-positioned we are to respect other cultures and their belief systems. I also hope that we can make a difference together. I look forward to seeing you in the next show. May Amon Re or Nanwene bless you. Take care. All right.
Absolutely.